Hello and welcome back to another Space Engineers showcase video. In today's video, I'm once again taking a look at one of your designs that you have linked me in the comment section of one of my videos. And if you wish to see something of yours shown on this channel, just leave me the Steam Workshop link somewhere and I'll eventually get around to it. But for today, we are looking at another small fighter, and this one is called the Colonial Viper, which is this lovely thing right here. So this is a small block fighter featuring 2 Gatling guns to blast your enemies with and only hydrogen thrusters to get around. It also comes with a fancy landing gear system, so if I come all the way down like so, then press number 4, little wheels on hinges will then fold down and allow you to bop yourself down on. So put them all the way back up, move up to here, press F10 and find it in the spawn menu. There it is. This thing is 391 small blocks using the Wasteland DLZ pack at Decorative block number 2. It features no mods and it has absolutely everything about the ship written on the workshop page. Look at this, a thumbs up which I already have. We'll move all the way around to the very front here. We'll have a quick look around the outside, fly around for a bit and see how it handles. So at the very front here, this is what we get. We've got a camera to view straight forwards and that is sitting behind a window block to minimise the damage it takes in combat. That's been surrounded by some lovely red blocks that'll lead on to some white blocks that goes all the way around the rest of the ship. As we move around the side here, we're going to see the first of many hydrogen thrusters. Some of them are turned off because we have a unique toggle that allows us to switch between space and planet. That allows us to use the best efficiency for the hydrogen thrusters because the last thing you want is to run out of fuel. Yes, as we continue along here, we'll see our fighter cockpit with one of 2 Gatling guns sitting on the side. Turning around and facing towards the back, another hydrogen thruster to help this thing stop. And as we move all the way around onto the little wing, we do have a green light with a red on the opposite. If we were to come all the way around to the very back here, this is what's going to push us along. We've got 3 large hydrogen thrusters, which is going to give us some fantastic speed. In the dead middle, a parachute hatch, just in case something goes horribly wrong on a planet. And just below there, we've got an access point where we can shove in some ice to help refuel this thing. If we continue coming down and underneath this thing, we're going to see where our wheels are being kept with their little hinges right behind them. Some more hydrogen thrusters. Then moving towards the front there, we can see the bottoms of some hydrogen tanks. There's our 2 Gatling guns. There's a small battery. And then towards the front there, another wheel and hinge setup with a few more hydrogen tanks and some more hydrogen thrusters at the front. If we were to come up and above here, this is what we get. Another set of hydrogen thrusters, a red stripe that goes all the way towards the back. There's our fighter cockpit, a beacon to always find this thing, another hydrogen thruster surrounded by some lovely grey blocks. That comes across onto another fin with a white light on top. So there we go with that. And that is a very brief look around the outside of the Colonial Viper. It does look fantastic with how it's all been set up. Very small, very sleek design, and should be very easy to build in survival mode if you are looking for a small fighter. So now what I can do is grab hold of my character, bring up the HUD, and go through the hotbar. So number 1 is going to be to turn on and off our thrusters while we're in planet mode. Doing that will leave the forward facing thrusters turned on, so we will come to tab number 2, press number 5 to switch them off. Turning them back on and coming back to tab number 1, turning on our thrusters, pressing number 2 is our thruster override to allow us to go into a cruise control mode and take our hands off the keyboard. Pressing number 3 will simply slow ourselves down and we'll eventually come to a stop. Number 4 is for our wheels underneath, so pressing that, they'll fold down after a short delay. There we go. Then pressing it again, the front will fold all the way up and then the back will shortly follow it. There we go. Number 5 is a manual toggle for our parachute hatch at the very back there, and number 6 is to view our camera at the very front. Number 7 is a toggle for the lights all the way around the ship, so there we go with that. And number 9 is to take control of our Gatling guns and shoot them straight forwards. On tab number 2, this is going to be for space mode, so pressing number 1, our hydrogen thrusters are going to flip over and give us the downward facing thrust. Back on tab number 1, we'll just switch on number 1 because they turned it off for some odd reason. And we'll be able to move up, down, left and right, which is very handy in space. Number 2 and number 3 is the same as the first tab, which is our thruster override to move forwards. Switch that off, with number 4 being our landing gear once again underneath. Number 5 is our cruise control, so pressing that is going to be to turn off our forward facing thrusters, So when we start to move forwards, we won't slow down. Turning it back on and coming to a stop, number 6 is once again our camera, and number 7 is for our lights around the ship once again. Number 9 is for our Gatling guns. Stay aware with that. And that is that for the Colonial Viper. So for a quick thruster test, moving forwards, this is what we get. Thanks to our 3 large hydrogen thrusters, we got some fantastic speed with this. Coming to a stop, we are a lot slower, but thanks to the floaty controls, we can do a 180 very easily and come to a stop almost instantly. Let's do that again. So going forwards, 180, boosting forwards, look at that go down, that's fantastic. Moving left, and moving right, we got some great speed with that. Moving down, and then moving up. A lot slower than left and right and forwards, but still fantastic overall. And as you saw with the controls, we are very, very floaty. There is no weight whatsoever on this, so you may want to turn down the gyroscopes just a little bit to get a bit of meat on the controls, but for stopping it with a 180 is fantastic. So the last thing I can think of doing with this little ship is, as per usual, slam it straight into an asteroid. So here we go, we're going to start shooting it up. We can come into the camera, view straight forwards. There's the asteroid, nothing going on with it. So we just keep going forwards and greet it with our face. So here we go, 3, 2, 1. Oof. And wow, actually, we're in perfect condition. We can move backwards, we can move forwards, we can move left and right, we can go down and we can go up. So having a crash thanks to our long nose, we are still a perfectly fine ship to fly around. We've even got our guns still intact. So that's some fantastic stuff. But yes, that is basically it for the Colonial Viper. It's a lovely little ship if you are looking for a small fighter to play around with. It does have a small issue on a planet with burning through hydrogen, so you will have to make sure this thing is topped up with ice if you are going to do that. But for space, it's fantastic and will get the job done. So there'll be a link to it in the description below if you do wish to download and play around with it yourself. I highly recommend you do, and I'll be back with another video some point soon. Bye bye.